Happy Halloween, movie buffs. I hope you're having a happy Halloween so far, and today's special Halloween review is for Hereditary. Hereditary is a 2018 horror film from A24, written and directed by Ari Aster. This is directorial debut starring Toni Collette. Hereditary follows Annie Lee, played by Toni Collette, who is a model maker, and after her mother passed away and her family is grieving, and after a sudden accident occurs, the family is starting to be haunted and secrets about the family are starting to be revealed. Back in 2018, I remember hearing a lot of praise for Hereditary. Critics saying it's one of the scariest films ever made, one of the scariest horror films since The Exorcist. People saying it's one of the best films A24 has done, one of the best films of 2018. I have been wanting to check out this movie for a while, but haven't got the chance to. So this year for a Halloween review, I decided to check out this movie for the first time. I've been very excited to see it. And now that I finally watched it for the first time, I am so happy I did. I decided to check out this movie for so long. This is a horror movie that not only stunned me, it traumatized me, but it excels in slow building tension. And it's exactly the type of slow building tension in horror that I love. Hereditary is certainly one of the best films that A24 has done, and definitely one of the most unsettling horror movies I've seen. Let's start this review with the pros. First, this is a knockout directorial debut from Ari Aster in the horror genre. And to be honest, this is the first Ari Aster film I have ever seen, and I did not see Midsommar, nor have I seen Beau is Afraid that came out earlier this year. But after watching this movie, talk about a great first impression. And I'm curious to check out both of those movies after Hereditary after this. This is such a very well shot movie with terrific cinematography and framing and movements, just from the pans, zooms, and certain close-ups, that made this movie very atmospheric and ingrain a feeling of dread when necessary. And to go along with that feeling of dread, he does a clever usage of foreshadowing. I never felt like it was too in your face. I felt like it was subtle enough for what's about to happen in the film. And this contains a gripping story that had me invested from beginning. From the beginning of this movie, I was like into it and curious to see where things were gonna go. But without spoiling anything, once the inciting incident occurs, that's where it hooked me. And that shocked me. I was like, holy shit. And right after that, I was like, I want to see where this movie goes. It does throw in some twists and turns. It's an unpredictable film that made me very anxious to see where things are going to go. Ari Aster masterfully builds tension that just hooks you. From the build-up, atmosphere, and effective scares when necessary. And he does what should work in horror, not rely on jump scares, but more so telling a creepy and unsettling story that's very engaging. The performances in this movie are all excellent, especially with Toni Collette as the lead. Now, this is an actress I've always liked in movies such as The Sixth Sense and Little Miss Sunshine, and a year later after this, Knives Out. But here in Hereditary, she absolutely knocks it out of the freaking park. This is the best performance Toni Collette has ever given, hands down. From her character struggling with grief that just feel raw and natural, and then slowly descending into madness is truly terrifying and haunting. And a few multiple scenes that contain incredible acting from her. One scene at the dinner table, all I could say is her acting. One question: how in the hell was Toni Collette not nominated for Best Actress Oscar? Like, seriously. How did Oscar voters look at that scene and seriously think to themselves, no, this isn't Oscar worthy at all? That was absolutely phenomenal acting in that scene. Just everything in that scene, just from sadness, anger, she knocked it so out of the park. And the second scene is a nightmare scene between her and her son Peter. Amazing. And there's also one scene after she discovers something. Her scream and agony in that scene. Oh my god, it was haunting. Just has not left my head since then. Oh my god. And I can confirm, this is my favorite female performance of 2018. And it's seriously crazy to me that she only got a Critics' Choice nomination for Best Actress, which is great, but come on, she should have gotten way more than that. And even an Oscar nomination, or why not a win? And the rest of the supporting cast is great too. From Toni Collette's husband, played by Gabriel Byrne, who does a great job trying to keep the family sane during all this. Millie Shapiro giving a great child performance, nailing the right amount of creepiness to Charlie. And even Alex Wolff does a great job here, especially with certain facial expressions he does in specific scenes is especially really good. Just how he plays this traumatized and troubled teen is really great acting from him. And this is one scary movie. Just from the trauma that this family goes through throughout the entire film, Ari Aster excels at building tension during certain sequences in this movie, especially one scene at nighttime where Toni Collette is trying to practice something and show her husband and her son. That scene, just the build-up was just heart-pounding and anxiety-inducing. I just loved it. Now, there are dark themes in Hereditary. It's not an easy film to watch, but I was just so invested in the central family in this movie and what they were going through. I wanted to see how they would make it out okay or try to find a way to become sane by the end. How this movie focuses on grief, trauma, and family history are all very enticing themes that elevate this movie so much. Now, I can't see why some would have an issue with the ending of the film, how it concludes, but upon thinking about the symbolism and events that happen in this movie, I can kind of see why they went with that ending. And this is seriously a movie, not just with certain imagery that happens in this movie, but just themes and symbols in this movie have not left me thinking since I watched it. And in this movie also made me want to look up other explained videos of this movie, dissecting certain parts about this movie, either themes or symbols, what does this mean and this and that. As for issues or nitpicks, honestly, I don't have one issue with Hereditary. Not really with its slow pace, it didn't really bother me. I felt like that added to the film. And won't repeat myself again with the ending, but I can kind of see why it went that way and some would have an issue with that, so honestly, I don't really have anything to criticize about Hereditary. In conclusion, Hereditary lived up to the hype for me, and then some. It's a masterwork in horror, with Ari Aster's skilled direction, haunting imagery and scenes, engrossing story, and amazing performances from the cast, especially Toni Collette. Now, if you have never seen Hereditary, and if this movie looks interesting to you, and if you like or love A24 movies, and if you want to look into more of their horror films, definitely check out Hereditary. Although I do want to warn you, this is a tough film to watch and it's not film for everyone. So this is a film you definitely want to emotionally prepare yourself prior to watching. And also, do know as little as possible before watching this movie. It has a ton of surprises. Or if you have seen this movie before and you want to rewatch this movie just in time for Halloween, definitely give it a rewatch. I can see why this movie was a bit divisive. You either loved it or you just weren't a fan of it. But to me, I'm on the side that absolutely loved this movie. Just an excellent horror movie in every way. And now to grade it, I'm going to give Hereditary, but bam! 5 out of 5 stars and A+. This is my favorite horror film of 2018, a runner-up being A Quiet Place, which I also love. And just a few updates. And now that I've finally seen it, where would I put it in my updated top 10 favorite A24 movies I did in the fall of 2022? I would probably put this movie at number 5, number 4, Moonlight, number 3, Everything Everywhere, 2, Uncut Gems, and number 1, The Lighthouse. So those are my top 5 favorite A24 movies. And as for an updated version of my top 10 favorite films of 2018, my top 5 of 2018, number 5, Won't You Be My Neighbor? Number 4, that's where I'm going to put Hereditary. 3, Avengers Infinity War. 2, Mission Impossible Fallout. And number 1, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So those are my updated top 5 films of 2018. And this is my second favorite A24 horror movie that they made in their filmography. Right between it, number 3, Talk to Me, which I love this summer. And number 1 still, The Lighthouse. Brilliant movie. I love this movie. Found it to be a brilliant and engaging horror movie that just stunned me. It left me in awe. So I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think of Hereditary? Have you seen it? Do you agree? Disagree with my review? Or if you've never seen it, are you interested in checking it out for the first time? Let me know in the comments below. Did you enjoy hearing my thoughts on this movie and want to see more reviews like this in the future? If yes, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here. And don't forget that notification bell for my next upload in the future. It really means a lot. And until the next video, I'm Jack Benner and look forward to another movie review. And have a safe and happy Halloween.